Hey all. So this is our war against ASR, who I don't believe we have ever beaten as an alliance. They always do very well in the season itself. And so, yeah, we knew this was an uphill battle. You can see how heavily I've boosted. This was also while mastery resets were free during the Battlegrounds beta, so you're going to see that a couple times. And there actually is a moment in this fight when I realize I actually left Pacify on from the Abyss runs that I was doing, which is one of the most common comments that I get on my videos is people asking, hey, why does Reed's Special 2 sometimes not work? Why do the debuffs not always reapply? And I asked, did you throw it while they were stunned, and do you have points in Pacify? And you're going to see that in a minute here. But Tigra here is very simple. She's going to gain more power than elsewhere because Power Focus 2 overcomes the suppression debuffs, but it's still just a basic function of baiting out her special ones because they're simpler and that lets us build the Careful Study debuffs and otherwise ramping Reed. So notice how we only got a second suppression. We still only have one stack of debuff Siphoner and Petrify. That's because of just the weird way that ability accuracy is coded in this game, and how that interacts with Reed. So right there, messed up, let myself get backed up. She could have cooperated a little more, but that's on me. Like, I know that evade for the heavy, and I was just sloppy. Luckily, Reed has high resistances as well as his rank 4 health, and so that was just not a real issue. Most of her damage is physical damage on top of her hits through the ruptures, and Reed resists a good chunk of it. So very safe matchup there. So I cut the feed there to go and change my masteries to take off Pacify, because the way the fight against Peni works is that you're almost only throwing your special twos while she's stunned. Did not want to chance that. He'll read back up. Notice the House of X pre-fight that one of my BG mates put on there, as well as my own pre-fights. We've made sure they've applied. We have our power back boosts, our special boosts. We're being very careful here, because I've taken this many times, but this is a rank 4 Peni, and if you mess up, she can cause problems, right? There's just a lot of parts of her kit that make her a good defender. This is an excellent counter, but we need to be careful. So we start off with our power start, which also means she starts the fight with a small chance to auto block us because she gets that Spider Sense charge. But that's why we're sticking to very short combos, mostly alternating medium, light, and heavy. And then we chain a medium into that special 2 while she is still stunned by House of X. Do not retaliate against her heavies or her specials, just ramp up the fight. Notice that when she does finally try to auto block us, it attempts to purify the stun to block the heavy, but because the passive stun is not a debuff, she can't purify it. She uses up the Spider Sense charges to auto block, but fails to resist the heavy and doesn't power burn us as a result. So really nice interaction there, makes this extremely safe for Reed, because it also means that she's not going to stack up to greater than 11 Spider Sense charges and inflict that power burn debuff on us, which is one of the main risks of fighting her without a power burn immune. The House of X pre-fight just makes this much, much safer for anyone who can take it. And Reed, as you know if you watch my channel, handles most people on power stack. So really solid fight here. Again, not punishing because she could power burn us. Making sure to keep our debuffs up with the heavies. One more heavy, and then now we can throw the special 3. Get the big fury from all the debuffs on her, and this has to finish it. Yeah, there we go. More than enough. Okay, so moving on to Section 2. Like I said, mastery swaps are free for this war, or were free for this war, and so I have turned on the recoil tree for Tigra. I do not think she needs it for most fights on the map, including this one, and you'll see that when we get there. But it is kind of the standard practice with her, and so I did go ahead and throw them on here. So here I'm thinking about the gray boosts. Again, with standard practice, you'll often see Tigra assigned with a power start boost. I don't think that that's actually the best idea if you are not like actively losing the fight, which we'll get to later. Because the way Tigra wants to work is that before you throw your big special 2 that ends the fight, you want to already have several ruptures up. Because the damage, see right there, I was just, the timing of the neutralize didn't quite line up, ran into his armor, unfortunate. But notice how that special 2 gets us some power back, but doesn't do that much damage, because he had no real ruptures on him. But watch how this next one is going to work, where we throw it with 6 on him, or sorry, with 9, I forgot I threw another one there. The first hit just demolishes him. And if you only throw 1 or 2 heavies to get Tigra to her special 2 because you power started, then you don't have as many ruptures on the opponent as if you gained all of that power through using her senses and applying ruptures. And then not only do your new ruptures do less damage, but your special 2 is less likely to apply them, because if you look at the text for that, it has a higher chance to apply a rupture on every hit based on how many damaging debuffs are on the opponent. So, for most fights, I actually think that it is better to just rely on Tigra's heavies to build long ruptures and build power that way. This is assuming, of course, you have her duped in at a high sig like I do, and not to use the power start, and you will actually end up doing more damage. So the Nimrod fight I messed up on a little bit, but you get a better illustration here. So I'm doing these short combos to make sure that the neutralize is up, when I then bait a heavy from Sersi so that she cannot gain her glancing buff, because that's the most dangerous part of her kit. Then we go ahead and heavy counter this. I am pretty comfortable charging in to land the hits of the heavy after this, but on that particular one, I saw how close I was to the special 2. I have gotten tagged before. I decided to just let it miss, gain the power to push me over the special 2. I knew that would end the fight. Just playing it slightly safer than normal, thanks to awareness of my power bar. Punisher 2099 is probably the fight that I dueled the most for out of this war, because once he goes into overdrive, he starts hitting really hard into block. Tigra does not have great block proficiency, and if he refuses to throw those heavies and specials and you start losing your senses, then you lose the ability to gain power from misses, which is the primary reason Tigra works for him. Because it is extremely difficult, for me anyway, for Tigra to retaliate against his specials with the heavy and actually land it, especially outside of the corner. And so what I tend to do is just let them miss, gain a bunch of power from that, and then use that to throw a special when he comes in. Now, as you saw, because we were blocking, because he didn't throw the special, because we gained enough power just from landing ruptures, that didn't even matter. The first special 2 ended the fight. But in case it didn't, I was dueling to make sure I was ready for that. So skipping ahead a bit further, here we have the Hazard Shift Mini. And for this one, you will see me put on a Power Start boost. Because like I said, if you are actively dying to the fight, then finishing it that much faster, even if it is not optimal, even if your Special 2 isn't doing quite as much damage as it could if you had more ruptures up, it's just worth it to finish it that much faster. And so that is the case here, because we're going to be getting all those debuffs on us. We use Reed to blunt that, to make sure we have to bait out fewer of his specials, all of that. But if you've ever seen Tigra take this fight, you know that the basic plan of attack is for it to be a very, very short fight. So we're all boosted up. Here we throw on the advanced power boost. We head on in, full recoil tree, making sure I'm recording. And we're going to bait a couple heavies. I think it only takes 2 for us to get enough power to get to our special 2. Let's see here. Yeah, that was enough already. There we go. Now we throw this. We have 6 ruptures up. So this could be doing more damage. You've seen a few of these hits are not applying all the ruptures. Because, yeah, if we had thrown that with 9 or 10 ruptures, that special 2 would have ended it. But thanks to the power back, we get close enough that 1 more heavy, and we're done. So now we have the Super Skrull boss, which honestly I was not worried about, because I've dueled for this dozens of times. I've taken this matchup before. I'm comfortable with the heavy counter. I'm comfortable with the special 1 counter. I haven't messed up either of them in a very, very long time. But there is one significant thing about his placement on the boss node that does make this a little harder. And that is if he ends up throwing his special 1 in the wrong place, where you can't use that moment in between to dash in and put the falter on cooldown, then things can get a little hairy. See how that was right before the falter went on cooldown? So I knew that I was going to get hit here. I was fully accepting that. Because the timing didn't work out. I knew I was going to gain power from Mystic Dispersion right here, could land a couple ruptures, throw the special 3, and I felt the fight was completely back under control. I wasn't worried. Because I knew all of the counters, and I knew that the falter wouldn't be back in time to cause me an issue here. So here you have, that's the special 1 counter, and he dexes out of it. That is the timing I've used every time. I don't know, I must have released late. But yeah, that caught me completely off guard. And I honestly feel like I should have changed my gray boosts in between those fights. I think that if I had gone with an invulnerability and saved myself the health from 3 of those hits, and built power the way that I prefer to, by just throwing the heavies, landing ruptures, then I think that A, I would have been able to take more hits and I wouldn't have died from the amount of them that I took. But I also think that the timing with Super Skrull's kit would have lined up better. And so I think I would have been able to naturally clear the falter and just not worry about anything else, and I think the fight would have been significantly safer. So I think I should have taken my own advice from the fights before Black Panther and just switched over the boosts, not let it carry through between those 2. That's a lesson for me for next time. Painful death there, but fortunately, that was the only death in the battle group, which, for me, makes it a little more painful on some levels. But we got a 164, we only died 1 time, and the Alliance overall only died 7 times. And ASR died 10 times, which means that for the first time in our history, we beat them. And there were some really, really clutch moments in there. I believe they had given us the lead, but we still had a lot of fights left, including some very difficult ones, and we held the line. So really, really proud of everyone. I mean, this has just been a massive season. We're playing very well. The death totals are low. And we beat one of the most storied alliances that's been in Masters War for a very long time. So really happy with everyone. My death was, not something I'm happy about, but I do feel I learned from it. I don't think that will happen next time. And hopefully you learned from it as well. Hope you enjoyed this war. And I will catch y'all on the next one. Catching up on these slowly but surely. Until then, thanks so much for watching, and take care.